Hey everyone, my name is Ellen and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play The Scientist by Coldplay on the guitar. This song was requested and voted on by my patrons over on my Patreon page as this month's patron pick winner. So if you want a little bit of voting power in the songs you see me teach on my channel, make sure to check it out. I will link it down below. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so to play through this song you are going to need to know 8 different chord shapes, and we're going to start with our B minor 7, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out right here. The next chord shape is our G major. We also have our D major. From here we go to our D suspended 2, where you just take off your middle finger. From here we have our A over D chord, where you just put your middle finger right under your first finger. And then from here we have our D6 over 9, where you just take off your middle finger. After that we have our A major chord. And then the last chord shape is our D major 7. And those are the only 8 chords you need to know to play through this song. Alright guys, so go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize those chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier. And if this is a skill you're currently struggling with, I do have an entire Practice With Me playlist right here on YouTube where we go through this skill and build it up in real time together. So I'll make sure to link that in the corner for those of you who need it. But once you have those chords under your belt, then we can go ahead and talk about the strumming pattern that I would recommend for this song. Alright guys, so as I always say, if you are brand new to playing guitar, or you're somebody who struggles with playing guitar while singing at the same time, the first thing I would suggest doing is to bring up the song and go ahead and play through the entire thing with a single down strum as you sing through the song. And you want to take this time to really just get used to what word or what syllable you're on whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. Come up to meet you, tell you I'm sorry, you don't know how lovely you are. Alright, so that's just a really quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and really just make sure you know where those chords are going to be changing. And it's actually something you do right now if you check out my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available to download and print out, so I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box. But once you know where to expect those chord changes, then we can go ahead and add to the single down strum to create more of a full strumming rhythm that you can use for this song. Alright guys, so the strumming pattern I would recommend for this song is pretty simple. As you can see, it's just all down strums with an up strum at the end. This is going to be counted in a 16th note pattern, so it's going to go like this. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Alright, so it's pretty simple, and basically what we're going to do is apply this pattern one time through per chord throughout the song. So let's go ahead and take a look at that intro as an example. We're starting here on our B minor 7 chord. You're going to play this pattern through one time through. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a, to our G chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a, to D, D suspended 2. Alright, and most of the verses is just those chords in that order with this strumming pattern, so you've already got most of it down. So without stopping, it would sound like this. Now one thing you might want to add in to kind of dress it up a little is on this G chord. As you can hear through the song, it'll go like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I'm doing there is I'm taking my pinky finger and I'm reaching it up to the 5th fret here relative to the capo on the high E string. And if you want to add that in just on the and of the 4 when you're strumming, it'll kind of do that lead in into the D chord. So we have B minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a, to our G, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, add your pinky, and then here I would just ignore the up strum. So we have G, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and to D, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and a D6. So you can kind of hear how it mimics the piano line if you do that. So one time through with that little added note sounds like this. So just something optional you can do if you want to add that in. I do think it sounds closer to the original song that way. So that's something that I like to do in my cover, but like I said, totally optional. So this strumming pattern you can apply for the entire song. The only place it's going to be a little bit different is some parts of the song where we want to split the pattern in half. So one place that you'll see this is in the chorus on this line. No one ever said it would be this hard. We're doing a little bit of a walk down there. We're going from our D major to our A over D, to our D6 over 9, to our A. So here we are going to have to split the measure between the A over D and the D6 over 9. So basically on our D chord, we're doing that for a full measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a. To our A over D, we're going to do just half the measure here. So we have 1 and 2 and, then take off your middle finger to the D6, 9, and we have 3 and 4 and a. Okay, so D is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a over D, 1 and 2 and D6 over 9, 3 and 4 and a to our A. All right, so the other thing I wanted to quickly add in here too is kind of like on our G chord where we added that pinky. You can do the same thing here on our A chord. If you add your pinky here on the 3rd fret relative to the capo of your B string, you're going to make an A suspended 4 chord. So just like the rhythm with the G, I would recommend adding that pinky on the and of the 4. So on our A chord, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Add your pinky, A sus, and then go back to A. So this line is the only one that's a little bit more tricky than the rest of them. So let me go ahead and play through the whole thing for you so you can hear how that sounds. All right, with some singing. No one ever said it would be this hard. Take me back to the start. All right, so that's how that part would go. Like I said, that's one of the only tricky lines. The other place where you do want to split this rhythm in half is going to be during those little instrumental breaks. So let me go ahead and show you that part. We've got our D, full pattern here, G. We can add that pinky if you want to our D. And then here you can see we're going to split the measure between D and D major 7. So again, we're splitting it right down the middle. On our D, we have 1 and 2 and to our D major 7, 3 and 4 and a. Okay, so that whole little instrumental break line sounds like this. And then you'll see that kind of in the middle with the break as well as in the outro section. But those are the only places where you want to split the strumming rhythm. The rest of the song is going to get a full pattern through for every chord. But yeah, that is the strumming rhythm that I would recommend playing for this song. All right, guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really get some of this muscle memory down to be able to play this strumming pattern. This is a pretty common strumming rhythm for a lot of different songs, so the sooner you can get that under your muscle memory, the better, because then you can play through so many other songs that use it. But once you have the strumming rhythm under your belt, you can actually stop there and play through the song. But I actually wanted to show you an optional picking pattern that you could use. The intro of this song actually has a very beautiful piano melody, and there's a way that you can kind of mimic that on the guitar. So if you're interested, let's go ahead and talk about the picking pattern that I would recommend for this song. All right guys, so like I said, this picking pattern is totally optional, but if you do want to try it out, I think it does sound really pretty with this song. Before we begin, I do need to mention two different things. One is that I do like to number my guitar strings when I talk about picking. So you can see here the low E is 6. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 all the way to the high thinnest E string. So I will be referring to these strings as numbers throughout this section of the tutorial. And then the other thing I want to talk about is your right hand that you're going to be picking your strings with. Basically what I want you to do is take your pointer, middle, and ring finger, and you're going to assign these 3 fingers to the bottom 3 strings, the G, B, and E, okay? And they're going to stay there throughout this picking pattern, but your thumb is going to move around because it's going to be covering the bass note in every chord. So for example, B minor 7, it's going to be on the A string, whereas on the G chord, it's going to be on the 6th string, the E string, okay? So the thumb is the only thing that should be moving. The other 3 fingers should kind of be anchored here on the bottom 3 strings. So now that that's covered, let's go ahead and talk about how to do this picking pattern. Basically what I would recommend is we're going to do kind of a back and forth for this picking pattern like you hear on the piano. So let's put our B minor 7 chord down. What I would recommend is starting with your bottom 3 fingers and then going to your bass string, which on our B minor 7 is our A string, the 5th string. And you're gonna go back and forth between them. And you do that for every beat, so we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right? And we're gonna mimic that exact same pattern for the rest of the chords as well. So on our G chord, we've got our bottom 3, and then the bass, remember, is our 6th string now, and then same thing back and forth, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, to your D chord, now your thumb's on the 4th string, same thing. All right, so pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So all together without stopping, it'll sound like this. So for the verse, those are the only 4 chords you need to know. On our chorus, it's going to be played the exact same way, except for that one line, like I said, that's a little bit different. Let's go over that now. You're going to start here on your D chord. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, to your A over D, 1 and 2 and, remember we're splitting this just like we did with our strumming, D6 over 9, 3 and 4 and, then when you get to your A chord, full pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for the A chord, we're just doing our thumb on the 5th string there. So the picking pattern is pretty straightforward once you get used to, like, you know, being able to control each finger by itself. Now, one thing I did want to go over really quick is those little add-in pinky notes. So on our G, where I would recommend doing that for the picking pattern is we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here on the and of the 4, again, you're just gonna pick just this note. So I'm doing that with my ring finger. So you'd go like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, then go to your D. Okay, so that whole first intro line would sound like this with that little added pinky note. And then if you want to add in that little A suspended pinky note for that line that's in the chorus, it would go like this. All right, so what I'm doing there is, again, on the and of the 4, I'm just picking this note. So on our A, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then strum, like a single strum. No one ever said it would be this hard. Take me back to the start. So yeah, for picking, that's what I would recommend. If you want to do that for the intro all the way through the end of the first chorus, that's what I would recommend. And then at that point, I would go into strumming if you want to make it sound more like the original song. But yeah, that's how I would recommend doing picking for the song. All right, guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really get the coordination down of how to do this picking pattern. If you can do it and add it into your cover, I do think it sounds really reminiscent to the original piano version at the beginning, and it sounds just really pretty. So definitely give it a try if you want to. But once you've mastered that, then we can go ahead and put everything we've learned in this tutorial together to play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of the song with me? Yeah! Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other fast track and play along guitar tutorials. I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play. So I'll see you over there. Bye!